Well, good morning. It's starting to sprinkle today. I think we're supposed to get some rain, but I need to go load up some tires. Since I run all over the state throughout the winter months, I typically run studs on my truck, and then every year before April hits, I got to go swap them out. So I better go get that done today. Good news, we got the tires swapped out on the truck. Swung over Lowe's here, got some hinges for the doors that we're putting back up inside of our house. Dee Dee's getting those finished being painted, and we don't know what happened to the hinges, so I gotta go get a few more to replace the ones that are on there. Well, it must be a day for chores. So it's time to change my oil in my truck. I like this stuff, Mobil 1 Extended Performance. You know, it's 20,000 mile oil. Honestly, in this town, I have a hard time finding a oil filter for this truck. Anyhow, I found this one at the local auto parts store, and it's a 15,000 mile filter. Typically speaking, I just run through 2 cycles of the interval in my truck when it tells me to change my oil, and so on the second go around, I change it. I don't remember what the interval is in that truck. I think it's like 5,000 to 7,500 miles, somewhere in there. But basically every 10 to 15,000 miles, I change oil in this truck with this extended life oil and filter. Anyhow, that time has come due, so I guess I better get this thing up on some ramps and we'll get the oil changed in it. So the mirrors on my truck wouldn't even fit through that garage door. The plan is just to pull up on some jacks just up inside the shop, and then I can use my creeper to change the oil.
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I can be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car.
All right, we're all done with the dirty stuff underneath. So now we'll move on into adding some fresh oil up top. Even though I barely fit my nose in the shop here, I was able to use my creeper for the first time in a very long time. This thing's been through a lot with me, rolling around in gravel and sheets of plywood in the gravel, you name it. In fact, one of the wheels is torn off from the rough life that it's had. This is just a cheap Harbor Freight creeper, but I will say this, it is really nice not laying on the cold concrete, and just being able to zip in and out on a creeper is awesome. So I'm very excited for this shop, even if I can't fit my truck in here to make it a little easier. It's fine. We got it in far enough that we can do an oil change on, no problem. So maybe I'll have to celebrate being able to change oil in the new shop by buying me a new creeper that's not missing a wheel. I don't know, that might be too fancy for me. We can sort of open the hood. Blows me away that this truck takes 0-20 oil. All right, we got it pulled out on level. Recheck the oil level, add a little bit more, make sure we're at full, and done. Doesn't take too long to change your own oil. I still enjoy doing it. It's way easier to go to a Jiffy Lube or something like that, but if you change it yourself, it's cheaper. Plus, I find it to be kind of relaxing and enjoyable. And the truck is purring like a kitten again, just like our little clock here is ticking away. You know, he was having a problem with his tail, it wasn't wagging. I kept having to reset it, but eventually, I don't know, last time I did, it's been going for probably a month now and still going, so. You know, some things just make you smile when you see them, and every time I walk in and see that stupid clock, I smile. Well, the weather's a little crazy today. There's clouds, and that's actually snow right over there. We had some snow this morning. It's coming in again. And then blue sky over here. So it doesn't know what it wants to do today. It'll figure it out at some point. Oh, hello. You may be wondering why I have a skill saw in the kitchen. I'm about ready to cut open this floor. Dee Dee's got the cabinets painted back together in this kitchen here. And there's a soft spot right in front of the sink. There's actually two soft spots right in front of that sink there. So either it's you know, prior leak or something along those lines. But anyhow, we're going to have to cut open the floor, patch that in front of there, and then we'll go ahead and, for the time being, paint the floor. But first things first, I'm going to rip up this really nice vintage brown linoleum that we have in here, so we can see where the seams are in our flooring, in our subfloor, and then I'll know where I'm going to cut with the skill saw. So, unfortunately, we've already cut a number of holes in the floor of this manufactured home to be able to patch some things. So, we're going to cut one more in it, see if we have an active leak or something we need to fix, and then if not, we'll go ahead and slap down some new subfloor. All right, let's get to it. All right, so we have some potentially good news. Obviously, there's been a leak here in the kitchen cabinet where the sink is. Floor is very much stained. This front cabinet's kind of all warped out, like it's been wet, and then the shelf in the bottom of the cabinet is gone. The potential good news is this is not wet currently. We'll check underneath, so it may be a past leak, and unfortunately, with that press board material, once it's wet, it just degrades the integrity of it. So I'm hoping that's all it is. We'll cut it out and we'll move on. Now, we also have some bad news on the glue down on the corner. So it is very, very much stuck down. So I'm going to have to think for a minute on what we're going to do for that, because that's going to be really, really hard to get up. All right, so I'm looking through what I have here that I could possibly use to scrape up this glue that's been down for who knows how long. I have an oscillating tool, and I have some of these little putty knife blade things. that are, I think, are designed for this sort of thing. I've used one before. Obviously, there's some glue on that one. I've never been super impressed with how well they work, but that is an option. I have the this little guy right here. But the only thing I have for a blade on it is a chisel blade, which could potentially work. I probably would just end up chewing the floor to bits. They may make a spatula blade, you know, a bit for this. I don't know, but I don't have one. So if we can't figure anything else, maybe I'll look online and see if they make one for that. Other option is also for this oscillating tool. I actually have a big wide wood cutting blade that's kind of tore up, but I think it would work fine for this. Or we have this big flat wood one. And the reason I'm thinking maybe those is because instead of a little one like that, is because it'll hold flat to the floor and I can just kind of guide it along. We're going to start experimenting with these, see what works the best with the least amount of effort, and that's what we're going to go with. Well, the weather just doesn't know what it wants to do. It snowed this morning. Now it's hailing / snowing. So kind of back and forth, back and forth. I guess it's that time of year. From an old leak because it's dry.
Good.
All right, well, I'm not gonna say that that was fun at all. In fact, it was pretty miserable, but we got it chipped out. We got all of the nails and staples and glue pulled out. So I've got this just kind of rough cut to put in here. Looks pretty good. So we're gonna liquid nails it, screw it in place, and then I think we can have some dinner. All right, good news. It is down. Just need to do a little finish caulking around it, and then we are all done. It's 7:45. We'll be done about 8 o'clock, and it's a good thing because we're getting hungry. Dee Dee had the forethought to put a roast in the crock pot, so thankfully we should have dinner ready to go here shortly. I'm going to work on getting this cleaned up. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I was hoping to get the floor painted, but you know, sometimes you get a little too ambitious. All the glue that was down on the linoleum took an extra couple hours, so we just couldn't get to it. So, but for another day, we'll get this floor sealed and painted and move on to something else after that. Thanks for joining us. See you guys.